Myself, Arthur Clive, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Achaya College of Engineering and Technology. So, in this video, we are going to see about clutches. So, clutches used in automobiles. So, what is a clutch? Clutch is a mechanical device that facilitates transmissions of power and motion from one component to another. So when engaged with the provisions for disengagement whenever required. So clutch acts as one of the important component in the automobiles. So it is the simplest applications. So it connected and disconnected two rotating coaxial shafts. So one shaft is attached to the power unit, that is the driving member, while the other shaft is connected to the driven member. So it provides output power for work. The motions involved are rotary in nature. So this is the use of the clutches. Next we are going to see about what are the purpose why we are using for clutches in automobiles. So a clutch is designed with the following requirements. First of all, it allows the vehicle to come to a stop while the transmission remains in gear. For examples, when we are shifting a gears, so the engines of the automobiles in the motions, in a rotary motions. So while we are going to stops, we have to apply the clutches. So what is the main uses of the clutches? It allow the vehicle to come to a stop while the transmission remains in gear. So it allows the driver to smoothly take off from a dead stop. Okay. Allow the driver to smoothly change gears, must be able to transmit power and torque without slipping. So there are many types of clutches. So what are the types of the clutches? First clutch, that is the positive clutch, friction clutch, plate or disc clutch, cone clutch, centrifugal clutch, single plate clutch and multi-plate clutch. So these are all types of the clutches. So again the types of clutches, that is divided into two types, that is the wet clutch and dry clutch. So wet clutch, it is immersed in a cooling lubricating fluid which also keeps the surfaces clean and gives smoother performance and longer life. So wet clutches however tend to lose some energy to the liquid. So next dry clutches. Dry clutches, as the name implies, is not batched in fluid or runs dry. So in wet clutches we are using the cooling lubricating fluid, but dry clutches without the fluid. Next, what is the clutch terms? So clutch, that is the disengaged. So for example, the clutch pedal. So when the clutch pedal is pressed, what will happen? So it will disengaged. So while we are shifting a gears in car or any other vehicles, what we have to do? We have to apply the clutches. Okay. So when we are applying a clutch pedal, so what will happen? There is a disengaged between the clutches. Okay. The clutch is disengaged when starting the engine, shifting the gear, stopping the vehicle and idling the engine. So, so these are, in these conditions the clutch will be disengaged. So how the clutch engage? So when the clutch pedal is released, okay, so when the clutch pedal is released, what will happen? It will engage with the gears. So this is the constructions of the automotive single plate clutch. So this is the single plate clutch. Here we can see the release fork, pressure plate, flywheel, clutch shaft, release bearing. So these are all some of the parts of the automotive single plate clutches. So next we are going to see about what are the components present in the clutch. So that is the primary component, flywheel, clutch disc, pressure plate, next throwout bearing. So that is secondary components, pilot bearing release, fork, slave cylinders. So these are all some of the components of the automobiles. So this is the single plate clutch. So single plate clutch, this has only one plate. So the diagram, see the diagram, it has only the one plate of clutch. So it is located in between the flywheel. So in this diagram we can see that flywheel, after that is the clutch plate. Okay, so clutch plate, here we can see only one clutch plate is located. So it is known as the single plate clutch. So when the pressure of the thrust race is released, so the compression springs, we can see that compression springs. So these compression springs are free to move the pressure plate to the left, bringing it into the contact. Okay, so the pressure plate moves to the left, sliding the clutch plate. Okay, along with that hub, we can see that hub in the diagram. So along the driven shaft until the friction lining touches the flywheel. So the compression springs now causes the lining to be gripped between the pressure plate and the flywheel. Okay, it is located between the pressure plate and the flywheel. So on the friction between the linings and the flywheel, the pressure plate causes the clutch plate to revolve, turning or for driving the shaft. So this is the use of the single plate clutches. See, this is the flywheel. This is the flywheel. So flywheel, it will attach to the crankshaft flange. So mass is used to store energy. So it has machined surfaces which the clutch disc connects, has a ring gear on its circumference. Pressure plate is bolted to the flywheel. So it will the flywheel. So pressure plate and flywheel are attached with the help of the bolt. So this is the use of the flywheel. See, this is the flywheel runout. So we are checking the runout with the help of the dial indicator. So it will shows, the dial indicator will shows the runout of the flywheel. Okay, so for higher rotation it should be in correct positions. So if it is aligned is mismatch, so we can't get the rotation properly. So in order to fix, so we have to check the runout. So what is the standard? That is the 0.05 mm in maximum, and in that is the 0.15 mm. Alright, this is the service limit. So this way, this is the method of checking the flywheel runout. So you can see in this diagram. So this is the friction disc. So here we can see the friction disc, that is the friction lining. There are friction liner that are separated by the springs. Okay, so these are made up of the ceramic materials. Okay, ceramic materials. Most these springs are allowed to lining to slip while engaging and disengaging. So this is the uses of the friction disc. So this is the diagram of the friction disc. So this is the friction disc. So mostly this friction disc are made up of asbestos. Okay, so okay, thank you. We can see the next topics in next video.